So, just a couple of practical things. When we finish at 12, it's fine to, I'll probably hang around, it's fine to talk, but there's the way the energy works when I'm doing anything like this that starts clearing stuff for people. And I've never been able to escape that. I just learned to manage it. One of it is I appreciate not touch me physically afterwards because it kind of goes through my body then, and otherwise it just goes out into La La Land where it came from. Okay? And also, is there anybody that signed up today and didn't pre-register? Anybody? Oh, I guess not, so that's not a problem. So we're good there. Okay. So we have about an hour left, I guess. I think I'd like to do a little meditation in the middle of this, just to unclutter the mind. And so, you know, these meditations are always like talking about, well, see this or look at that. And we all look differently at things. We all see differently. Some of us see whatever cell in our body. In other words, it's a sensation. We sense that we're in a space or looking at something or something's present. So when I say see, just make it particular to you and that it's working. So whether you see it exactly like I say it or not, it's not the point. It's that there's a collaboration that occurs that allows us to go into a different state of consciousness. And so if you just go along with it and trust the way it's appearing for you, whether it's through your senses or through your vision or however, it's going to work just beautifully. And so we'll take a journey into presence. You might way to look at this. So just close our eyes. It's always good to take a few moments and become aware of your space, and also in a way that makes that space a sacred space, And that in that sacredness there's a inflow of holiness or goodness, however you want to phrase that, but invite that there's this, whatever this energy is, that's this highest good, that it be present, that it fill what we're doing, that it guide what we're doing, so that it really be of service to the highest good of each person here, and serve you in that way. And I always love this because every time we ask, there's a response. And so whatever way we ask for higher consciousness to open in our awareness, for our soul to be present, for the loving, the highest loving, to be present with us. And just allow that, however you do that inside, to guide you into that alignment, to bring you deeper and more centered and more present. So now just imagine you're in a place that brings you peace and presence. It may be on a bluff overlooking the ocean, and you bring that back into your senses, into your awareness, to the point where you can actually sense or hear the waves upon the beach clashing on the rocks, where you hear the surf. And in that hearing of the surf, you can actually get on that sound and start to ride it. It begins to transpose your awareness. Or perhaps for you, it's sitting by a mountain stream. You can feel the earth and the trees around you, and you hear the water. And you let your awareness go into the sound of the water as it flows. And there's just a place in that listening that it transposes you. Or perhaps yours is listening to the wind and the leaves. And so you bring back to awareness that sound of the wind and the leaves. And you can feel it in your body, so your body feels safe with it. And you take that sound and move into it, and it transposes you. We have these big chimes we put in our garden, and the wind hits them, and the sound, it just carries me. So I get on it, and I just ride it. So in that place it takes you, it actually brings you to a place that you transpose your awareness on that sound. You don't need a visual yet, but just in that place, hold it, come back to it. And we invite our soul to be there. And we invite the loving to meet us there in whatever form we can understand it, whatever form we can assimilate it and relate to it. Ask it to present itself in a form that you can understand, connect with. Not to control it or make it happen. If you need to, just take a deep breath and relax. And say yes to this. Greater consciousness within you, within the universe. And your mind may want to go through several things on its own, but let it do that. You just stay with the presence and watch it. Whatever arises, just welcome it, appreciate it, and just stay in this presence. Just keep carrying you deeper and just be curious about where that takes you. It may just stay right where it is. And consider that there's this ancient place inside of us that remembers itself. It remembers an agreement with the wholeness of life, with the loving. We say ancient because it gives us perspective. It's still there in another dimension within us. So as ancient place, we know of a relationship between us as an individual experience of holiness and the larger field of loving. So we can meet there. So you invite forward the deepest state of consciousness you can know, or the highest state, however your construction looks at that. Not with any self-importance or control or idea of it, but as it does present itself. And it may be something brand new that you haven't experienced before. Yeah, there we go. So just in the space of that, say yes to yourself, realizing that every other idea you've had of who you are is probably limited, likely. Whatever you have experienced, go past your experience. Certainly go past your beliefs. Go past your judgments. And give permission inside for this presence to resolve and resolve any place inside of you that you still hold yourself in separation or superiority or inferiority. And just let that swim through you in its own way. And may the love within you show you the way home. So just take your time and open your eyes when you're ready and begin to focus back out into the room and just become more present in the room. So from my perspective, if there's one thing to hold to, it's that, and this is I'll present this as a theory. I like to have theories, you know. And one of them is that, and so I'm researching this. And so that frees us up from having to know stuff and own stuff. So that life is conspiring to fulfill you and your life beyond your wildest dreams. So if we keep researching that, it always takes us above any limitation we're going to cook up for ourselves in our visions of things. So, any other questions? Or yes? Wait. We there. You don't have to do anything with it, just talk.
When I come to that place with someone that I'm working with, or who's working with me.
Yeah, we never know for sure. Yeah.
Both. Where I do feel the ancestral shift in the calling to that person and them to me. And there's this mutual sort of clearing and appreciation. I find myself inwardly asking what next, in the sense that
it's a perfect question.
That's the time that it seems the co-creation of something else can happen. And sometimes there's, quote, time for that something else. Yeah. And there seems to be an almost mirthful expression of joy that leads to, well, in one case, singing with somebody, in another case, painting, another case, tears, prayer. It didn't seem the form mattered.
Yeah, sometimes another issue arises. Yeah. That's, well, and perfect technique.
Hello. Whoa, I hope I can handle that, Dr. Waterman.
Yeah, that's how we track this. Yeah. And so there's a few key things you mentioned. One, you're aware when you're present, you're aware when energy shifts. See, and this is kind of basic. So we need to keep improving our awareness and sensitivity to the shifts in energy. Because like you described, you can just track it so easily that way. You don't have to guess if something lifted or shifted. It's shifted in the energy. And as soon as that happens, you just go with the next thing. There's no need to talk about anything else or complicate it again. It's done. And there's plenty more, so you keep going. And like you say, sometimes it's just hallelujah for a little while, and we'll see you next week.
I keep hoping in my own soul that somehow in these processes we can create a world where we don't have to have this paradigm of learning in quite this way, through the incarnation bringing into life the suffering that sometimes happens for our soul lessons. I so wish to envision a world where we come into existence ready to co-create.
Well, so you can do it that way, or just realize that you're describing what's going on. So you're aware of I guess we could call it a plant. You're aware that you see that. And what I would suggest you shift is, it's not a hope or a wish or a prayer for something that may occur. You're actually aware of the process, just like in your counseling. This is your world work. You're aware of the process. This is what is going on. And my life is participating in that process. So I have to keep doing what I'm doing, and it facilitates this process. So we look at things like as if everything that goes on is to assist us to become more into our loving. And by so doing, the world becoming loving can take place. It's already set to take place. Our consciousness is the facilitator of that. See? So we're so used to looking at things like a prayer, a lack, or a loss. It's like we don't, just shift a little bit. Oh, I'm just observing what's going on. That's what I'd suggest, just a little shift in viewpoint.
Thank you.
Yeah. See, so and so your personal life, you start moving from a life based on, cause and effect. You do this and that happens. It's a grace where the coming in, using each issue to come into awareness of your loving just settles it. So, and that starts to be collaborated with by life.
So I need to have a deeper level of trust, eh?
Need to have a deeper level of trust. I don't know. I get you. I get that you have a pretty deep level of trust. You have to get that you're part of the club. There's something happened when you were growing up that always didn't let you be the member.
Yes, that disconnection. is
Likely you weren't
profound.
one of the cool kids. See what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah, so you were in this other club that nobody knew about yet. So that's a shift in the basic self about your worldview and how you see yourself. It's like, oh yeah. But see, those little ideas get in there and perseverate, and we don't notice them, see? Oh yeah, so just bring your awareness. Can you feel that?
Yes.
Yeah, so just like it's another ancestral thing to clear.
Amen.
See? Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yes,
Yeah, I feel that?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how gently we can move into these things and how the presence just informs us of the next thing. Yeah, now we're taking off. It's nice. Anything else?
I'd like to express gratitude for your being present and sharing your remarkable, in my terms, freedom and non-attachment in a beautiful, loving way, in an inspiring way with me and with all of us, sir.
Yeah. Well, you just look around the room and it just demonstrates all the different ways that we're loved.
Yes.
By whatever's doing that.
Yes, I'm getting to that stage in life where I realize that it's all so much easier than I made it be. And I've forgiven myself for that. And so, as it gets easier and easier, I grow happier and happier. And then if I look back, I can't imagine why I thought it had to be so hard and why I had to try so hard and push so hard and all of this.
You got it. Yeah. We grow older and look back, and one of the greatest spiritual experiences is to be embarrassed by our history. So one of the things that comes up in a lot of sessions I do is it's almost like one of those template things, is have people forgive themselves for doubting themselves and not trusting their life, because it always gets you there.
Yes.
In some way that, beyond our capacity to just manipulate by ourselves, as a by ourselves person, anyway. Anything else?
I've come to respect fear, which I used to think was an adversary and have come to see it's a friend. And I can sometimes invite that friend to dine with me. And I owe that to everyone I've been quote unquote paid to work with for the last 46 years or so. And that's so wonderfully humbling that it deepens my gratitude.
Very powerful, yeah. Quickest way to see God is to kiss the hands of your enemy.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
How is fear a friend?
One moment, please. Yeah.
Well, I'm asking her the question.
How's what?
How is fear a friend?
Well, my experience is that it's a harbinger of love. And so I experience it as the beginning of more light.
It's part of the growth, I understand.
As I experience it anyway, yes, ma'am.
It also teaches us not to play in traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it turns it to your advantage where, fear is often used to cause us to be afraid of ourselves. And so that's a big one. And we tend to that first, and it takes us to the place that needs to reconnect. It's quick. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm an old 23rd Psalm guy, so my approach. Okay, anything else? You keep talking, you're just going to lead us right into the promised land.
I feel that there's someone else that needs to hold this, so I'd like to turn it over to
Okay.
you, sir. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Behind you.
Not quite sure how to put this into words or questions, so I'll just share. One thing really important and core that I'm hearing you talk about, and I experience with you, is, is spending the time with ourselves, nurturing, strengthening, practicing, knowing ourselves, letting the loving be more and more present. And a lot of the ways that I've known in the past were passive. And that's not a judgment, I'm just saying I used to know that to do that I could meditate or could walk quietly in nature or contemplate. So what I'm finally beginning to see for myself through my art is this different vibration with being in touch with sorry, it's really moving.
It happens every time it touches in, so.
Yeah, it does. I either laugh or I cry or both.
Yeah.
So what I'm beginning to see is a different vibration of it that involves me more. There was such a deep quietness I needed to learn to practice. And
That's
now,
building up that strength. That,
yes.
Yeah, building up that, yeah.
And that channel sort of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now with art, for me it's visual art, but I know that that's not the only way, but I'm experiencing it like this highway, this open two-way highway to soul. And it's engaging in it. That's so exquisite and so beyond the hard work that I've done in my life and that I see so many of us be willing to, tackle and face things and process and this and that. And now there's something with creativity it's pure grace, and it's a gift. And it's just like by being creative, as soon as you be in the creativity, I'm active, I'm engaged, and all of this amazingness is just going on. It just happens. I just wanted to share about that, and I mean, I know this is a world that you see
Mhm.
also, and if maybe there's more about that. And also as a way of taking care of ourselves and nurturing ourselves so that we can
Mhm.
be that, you know, that calm and that energy for others, and sort of become infectious. So,
Well, that's a good description of the process. I like to invent for myself little simple ways of looking at each thing. So we start off with dialogue. And so there's dialogue with each other, dialogue with the wholeness, dialogue with parts of ourselves, you know. What I find with art is that when there's that intention that the art be like it's like a metaphor for life. So what's unconscious becomes conscious in the symbol of the picture. And then we reflect on that. And that, again, is the unconscious seeing that and comes out with the next piece. So it's a way of actually, it's the same, metaphorically, it's the same as moving through life.
yeah.
So we not only get that kind of contained experience with ourselves, but we practice how to relate to life in the same way. See, and in my experience, the soul's an active energy, or that, whatever we call it, essence, whatever that core of our being is, it's active. It's not a passive energy. And it's recognizable through love, joy, enthusiasm when we're expressing that energy. And art's a very easy way to do that because of it just replicates the natural process of life. So that's my way of describing that. Your way is good too. Yeah.
Thank you, though, because that, that like another facet of what I'm looking at, that's actually a piece I was looking for.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bridging right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Unconscious is always challenging because it's unconscious. So symbolic techniques like that are a nice way to bring up things. And then we respond to them and soul can take them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. As long as we don't get too intellectual about it, too analytical about the art. Just treat it as a conversation with the holiness inside of us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I like to keep talking about art and my
Okay.
relationship to art.
What's about art?
My relationship to art,
Is it a good one?
yes. I have a large art producing family, and I've always felt, pressure to produce art. But at some point, and I was a writer, I'm a singer, and there's something behind that that's just this intense passion at times that I feel. And before I'd write a poem, I would just almost feel like I was, in a state of being locked down until I could get it out. And I'm also a dancer, and the same thing. I was, just taking off on this amazing kind of journey of, I wouldn't really say it's out of body, but it's so inspired.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with me. I don't think. I guess my question comes down to, I stopped producing things, poems, art, and I felt the energy was still there, but I didn't feel the product was ever satisfying enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that I just wanted to be with the energy. And it almost felt selfish to me to hold that in and not, I do give it to people, but to just create things or throw it into the wind, I just sort of went back into myself. that's good or bad.
But you're curious about it.
I'm curious.
Yeah. There's, from my perspective, there's those natural impulses that propel our life. And for each of us, we have certain talents, natures that we came to fulfill and experience. And then we also have stuff that's confused, understanding. We call it karma. But it's somehow this process has been reversed or distorted in some way. So it creates a sense of lack inside. And so we those two get mixed together. So we start pursuing it, and life starts cooperating with the reflexivity of that. And so one way we see that is, producing art. Seeing it, it's somehow, you feel the karma and you produce art and you feel relieved. But you're also feeling the natural impulse of your soul to create and share. But they're mixed together. See? So after a while, you've had plenty of experience of what it's like to do art to make up for your lacks. In some degree, it could be 1%, 2%, 100%. It's still in the mix. And so you've kind of exhausted the karma. So here you are in a transitional state. Say, well, I don't feel like I have to anymore. I don't feel compelled. I don't feel like I need to do this to feel good about myself. I even have moments of just feeling good about myself without producing anything. Well, you keep going down that road, and after a while you start to fill up with the greater. It's like being your own walk-in, where you've changed your personality sufficiently to accommodate a greater level of your consciousness. So it's room for it. So it starts to sneak in, and see it, and you feel full, and that's nice. And then it starts to overflow. And then there's a different kind of tension which has to be sharing the overflow. So then you pick up creativity in an entirely new way in terms of sharing the overflow. In other words, it's a way to share the loving. And your images or whatever you create, your poems or whatever, the words or the images take on a different vibration because they're doing that moved from your being. So you start out with doing moved from your doing. So you did this, and then you need to do that, and then you need to do this. It's always from your doing. But our truer nature is to, when we're in our being, we're present, and the doing moves out of the being. Like a lot of the ways we've looked at this, where, like when we were talking, like we're just present, did one thing, well, what's next? Did that one? Oh, that's nice. What's next? So that's doing, moving from being. So it's rearranging inside right now. I don't know if it's the best analogy, but it's like a caterpillar in the cocoon. It's digesting itself to come out with a new form. See? And so you'll know, the art will pick up itself. The creativity will pick up itself. It could be somebody says something or invites you into something, or you just sit down one day and decide it's time. See, but just trust the process. It's not a lack, or you're not living up to your potential. That's a deadly one. Life can only live up to its potential, so what's the issue?
So art of sublimation is which kind of music, of art, painting, or movie music? It comes from sublimation. Which kind? Art out of being, but art of
Yeah.
art out of being.
It's art out of being is different than art out of sublimation.
Well, yeah, I
One comes out of sublimation, one comes out of being.
Okay, but when you sublimate, you know, I mean, of course we're talking about, you know, a negative behavior, you know, that gets then transferred into a positive.
Yeah, art helps to bring that up so you can look at it and reflect off of it, so the natural healing of your self can take place.
And that's an unconscious, you know.
Until you put it on the canvas, then it's not unconscious anymore. It's on the.
People don't always know that they're changing a negative behavior into this wonderful creative thing, right? Generally with
I don't know about what you mean by that, but yeah, that's what that does happen. Yeah.
Right. But so, how would you consider that? Because this is.
I'd consider that like a good idea.
Of course it is. Wonderful.
Yeah. See, anything that works is worth doing.
Right.
And so everybody has their own place, their own level with stuff, and whatever way they conceptualize that or put it into models is not important. The important thing is that we're present in our loving and join in with someone in a process that processes. And that sets up a natural transformation. So it doesn't matter how we model it or conceptualize it.
No, I was just asking if it was similar to either of the ways you described.
Everything's similar. Yeah, it is similar. I just said how it's similar. Yeah.
Okay, so it's similar to the second way.
Well, it is a little bit too mental for me, but yeah, you can say it's similar. That's too much work for me.
Sorry.
Yeah. Anything else for today? Yes.
Not sure how to word this, but
I have the same problem all the time. I've been struggling with that for the last 2 hours.
Pages, and they're always changing because the words are limiting. But this might be a really big question, but the bridge between deep emotional pain and the loving state of being, or how to transmute pain into love. Is there a way that...
Well, it's a good idea for one thing.
Well, I can think of just, again, sharing from personal experience, that taking that deep emotional pain and transmute it into love through creativity, through art, through architecture, through good deeds, through environmental awareness, through living, through the art of living. But I was wondering if there's another way to describe it, or if you have something else to say about it.
Let me share a story. One of my favorite war stories from my life. It's really coming to appreciate the nature of pain and its value. You know, like when we cut our hand, it says, "Pay attention to me," and it starts a healing process. So we know it has something to do with that, and what's it look like on an emotional level, spiritual or mental level. So once upon a time, myself and a close friend of mine who were actually down in Alamogordo studying at energy healing. So we've been doing that for a couple of years. So we've been doing a lot of, self-forgiveness and working with the light and working with the loving. And we were both in graduate school over in Las Cruces. So one evening we were sitting down, and one thing we like to do is tell war stories. That's character building experiences in your life. Those are war stories. So things kind of sneak up on you, and I hadn't quite realized that. So it was my turn to tell my war story, and we're both guys that had been, had various love affairs that didn't work out for us. So that's the kind of war stories we were telling. So I started into one of my favorite ones because it was I'd gotten such mileage out of the self-pity of it. And this has been after a couple of years of this, kind of sneaking up on ourselves with this transformative lifestyle we were pursuing. Anyway, so I started in to talk about it, like, well, this girl I was engaged to once, and so in the process, these things are this kind of fun to begin to realize. In the energy space around our bodies, it's where we store all this stuff. So all these little blocks and judgments and beliefs are actually in this space around us, and we can actually touch them if we want to. And so when they change, it changes how the energy flows through your space. And so if you're tied into that one and tied into that one, and these all let go, you go back into your center, and then this wakes up. Anyway, I didn't understand it that well at the time. So as soon as I still remember, my attention went down. It was a heart matter, so it's down here. It went right out where it was. And as soon as I touched it to talk about it, there was this big explosion in my body. And all this joy welled up in through me and took me into an ecstatic state. So that got my attention. So I was very curious about how that would occur. See, one of the things, it was kind of basic what I've been talking about, he was sitting there in a loving, unconditional state, you know. That's what the practice we had with each other. And so it provided that context for this sort of thing to move in, because he wasn't judging it or trying to process it or trying to fix it, he's just present. See? So I went back to my next client. I said, I got to try this. So this client had a similar emotional pain. So I said, well, you want to try something? I mean, always watch out when I say that. So you want to try something? She said, yes. So this pain, I'd like you to focus into it and keep concentrating till it becomes total, 100%. So she said, okay. So she tried it. As soon as she hit it 100%, she had the same explosion in her body, and this joy welled up. So I said, that's very curious. See, there's something about judgment, about our trauma, that blocks, it constricts. And what's it constricting? The only thing I can include is our joy or our loving. So the pain's produced by our own creation of thought and judgment, restricting the flow of the joy or loving. So once that's deconstructed, this moves automatically because it's just been waiting. That's its nature. It's to flow and expand and move. So however you deconstruct that, in this case, once you get to 100% pain, you've deconstructed all the beliefs and judgments that held it in place. Another way, of course, is to start unpacking the beliefs and judgments and taking them apart. As you mentioned earlier, the code for the solution is in the pain. So we make friends with it and get it to give up its secrets. See? So in this, it's not a matter of, so what occurred to me after that, it's not a matter of fixing the pain, or it's a matter of changing the reality.
Right. It seems like they go hand in hand, love and pain.
And hand in hand.
Uh-huh.
See, when we were talking earlier, had her put her holding to the life raft in one hand, and then find this loving in the other and hold that, and not try to fix anything, just hang out with both of them. And the body's very well set up. Hand in hand's great, yeah, hand in hand.
So the fear of feeling hurt is a fear of feeling pain, but if we no longer have fear of pain and we can embrace it and love it, then that fear of feeling hurt, does it dissipate? Seems like, I mean, from my perspective.
We certainly get more courageous after a few of those. And when the pain comes up, we respond to it through moving to our loving to deal with it more often. So we have gratitude, compassion, not sympathy. Sympathy usually agrees with the person, and we get mushed up together and just lock the pain in and have a tradition for holding it there. So it's not sympathy, but there is a empathetic quality that occurs here where the pain loosens and the consciousness can move in the loving more. And so we just find different ways to do that. And there's a lot of techniques in counseling out that if you look at them carefully, that's all they're doing. You know, like when in trauma therapy, when they find the trauma place and then they find a resource place, that's all they're doing. Same thing. And then they use a resource point to unpack to disentangle this. And at some point, the consciousness resets itself. So it's really moving with the way we're put together on this. And so pain does not mean we're busted or not working well. It means, oh, we're working well. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the pain, but it's working with us. See? And so somebody else mentioned earlier, make pain a friend, and invite it to the table. And See what it has to say. It's information. So just in general, our feelings and emotion are information. They're not truth.
They're passing.
What?
They're all passing.
But they're all passing. And they're all information, so we don't want to just like pass them off either. Like, oh, what are you trying to tell me? Well, just over here there's something really nice. And, well, over here there's a part of you that's starving. You just need to feed it, and this will be better. See, so it tells us these things, and so we learn to work with it. Yeah. One of the things I found in working with art was there'd be different things, which I call them different points would show up. And there'd be a point like I'd call a reaction point. In other words, that's something's too protected there. You can't get to it because the consciousness will defend itself. But so then I looked for in the drawing actually. There'd be another place in the drawing that would point to the solution. See, so then we go to the action point, and by continuing to draw pictures off the action point, it would resolve the reaction point. So it's just a matter of feeling the energy in the painting. So there's a lot of applications of this.
I'm trying to get over my shyness. No.
Just a second. Are we done? Anything else? You okay? Okay.
She passed the wand.
Well, that is, yeah, well.
I just think the conversation's never over, so.
It's true.
I think you were saying about things being stored in your aura, like, and that sort of thing. I saw this guy, there's a new movie out called The Butler. And in it,
I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's good.
The actor that played the part, he was on Charlie Rose, of course. And he said, they asked him, well, how are you going to play this over a lifespan? This guy's life in the White House, you know what it's about. He said what he did was he stored it in his body. You know, the pain he felt from the insult of his son having to go to Vietnam, and then another part and another part.
Okay.
And just weighed himself down, and every day he put those parts, the grief.
Yeah.
And he'd say, well, that'd be related when you said to your heart.
Yeah,
that
he's really,
reminded me of that.
yeah,
That's
it works.
exactly the idea. Well, that'd be your heart, that'd be your kidneys,
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
you stooped, and you're dragging a leg, and all that kind of stuff would all be part. And that's how he played the old man, actually, you know, character acting.
Fascinating, yeah.
Actors have a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
like
just put the mock-ups in the field so that it got the right posture.
that.
Yeah.
And Oprah picked
Clever.
up on it, too. The one thing I'd like to say, though, what I found in Mora so much working in that area, Chacon, in a small area, that this stuff that we're doing today and that we're working on and intellectualizing, it would sound to them certainly. And they are very skeptical of anything academic. A therapist, you know, pugnaciously skeptical of anything academic. So you must talk in very basic, but this is all very available to
But
people.
there's a great heart in that culture. So you just work it off of the heartfelt center of things.
Interesting. There's heart, but it's the heart being crushed also, too. So
What's
I think
that?
what you gain,
Yeah.
there's a cultural oppression going on.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think whatever you gain by their heart is being, anyway, be that as it may, the thing is that people that don't have an in-depth education can accept this awareness and being aware of their own awareness in a very direct way.
Yeah, it's just there.
Even
It's
more
a-
direct than we're
yeah.
saying it.
Yeah, it's just there. And so
And you
just,
can do it
it's a
in a
natural
second
process.
session.
Yeah.
You say, just sit there.
Yeah.
You can feel the sensations in your, or the pain. Go to where the pain is and
Yeah.
be thankful. That was one thing you guys weren't saying.
Mm-hmm.
You got that pain in your knee, that bad knee, and you know, you don't say it's related to your emotions because that would be academic again. Just go to the pain and feel it, and being thankful that that gives you a center. Now we got something we
Yeah,
can
see,
really.
that's a very
focus.
important key. All it needs is a reference. Like as soon as it has a place for the conscious to connect, we don't have to elaborate on anything. We just have to move to the resolution. And so I love the way you're describing that because it's and bringing that to our attention because it's a very natural process, and that's the foundation of it here.
That's what
Yeah.
really is the indication, is that it's very natural. You're not teaching anything. They're aware of it. And the thing you said, kissing your hand is to kiss God. But you can always tell them, just look at the baby, how the baby is when he first sees
Yeah,
his
and
hand.
there-
That kind of,
So you tap
it's
into
built in. Yeah.
tap into the resource place.
What they already know,
Yeah.
too.
So these are natural things to us.
You're not teaching. You're
Yeah.
kind of just saying, let's be aware together in that room. I was just startled by that it was so direct, even more direct than us.
Yeah, yeah.
As you become intellectual, you kind of lose it.
You can, yeah.
But they have great pain too. Great
Yeah.
pain really helps to get the idea of awareness in a hurry.
God bless Mora. It's a great place. It's a beautiful place.
Oh, it's really gorgeous.
Yeah,
Gorgeous people,
yeah.
gorgeous
Okay,
culture.
thanks.
Where?
Mora, north of Las Vegas.
No.
Yeah.
So how we doing?
She's back.
No, no,
And gratitude.
that's okay. So anything else? So let's just take a little finishing piece here. It's all these, you know, we talk and remind each other of stuff. So it's just floating around here. So if we just take a moment to come back to that place of peace inside that we touched into earlier and give permission for all this stuff that may have gotten triggered for us or stirred up for us, or just to lift off, because it will. See? And you don't have to take it with you. If you brought it in, leave it here. There we go. And just breathe into your heart and touch in there and bring that loving forward, surround you in your space, and everything that's not that loving, just let it fall away now. Well, so thank you so much. I've had a delightful time.